Periscope is live. Facebook is live. Waiting on YouTube, as always. And YouTube is live. Good afternoon, Internet. I am Jack Heald. It is Thursday, January the 30th, 2020. Today we're going to talk about hard times and survival. But first, let's drink a toast to this present moment. It's good to be alive. As usual, today's show is brought to you by coffee. I'm drinking Lavazza today. Don't think I'm going to stick with it. Not a fan. It's not as good as it is when I drink it in Europe. Not sure why. Spent a little time this morning talking with a new friend. I live in Phoenix. He lives in Florida. It's amazing how the internet can bring people together that way. We have common life experiences. We both went through very difficult end of marriages. My only goal in life had been to be a great dad. I wanted a family, and my family meant everything to me. I managed to get into a marriage to a woman who was a bad match for me as a man, as a husband. She was a great mom. We did a good job as parents, but we were an awful match together. And after 24 years of marriage, we were both about as miserable as I think two human beings could be. We split up in our 25th year, and the circumstances of the split I've talked about and written about elsewhere. For me, it was unbearably painful, or, to be more accurate, it was far more pain than I'd ever believed I could bear. I was estranged from my children. Most of my friends abandoned me. I had almost no personal connections that stuck with me through that process of the dissolution of my marriage. Now, had you told me back then that for a period of time I would lose not just my marriage, but my connection to all four of my children, I would have told you I couldn't survive that, because the only thing in the world that I genuinely valued, that I would not have given up, was my relationship with my four children. And that was the thing I lost for almost, it was a varying amount of time with all four children. I had no contact at all with them. And yet, here I am almost 15 years after the fact, and not only have I regained all four of those relationships, but I now have 3 children-in-law and 7 grandchildren, and I cannot imagine a richer, more abundant life with those 4 children and 3 in-laws and 7 grandchildren than I have right now. I am immensely grateful. Now, how did I go from believing that something like that would actually kill me to where I am now, where I look back on it really without pain? I mean, it was certainly a hard time. It certainly wasn't fun. And there were days when I really genuinely believed I couldn't go on, but I did. How did I do that? And more importantly, how will you do that? Well, I was fortunate the year before my marriage ended up to be able to do the Grand Canyon rim to rim hike. It took, I had to train for about 5 months. I was already a fairly avid hiker prior to that, but you don't do the Grand Canyon without a good bit of training. And I trained for about 5 months and then did the rim to rim. The last section of the rim to rim is the climb to the top of the canyon. Unlike climbing a mountain where first you climb up and then you go down, with the rim to rim, you climb down and then you go up. And that last 6.5 miles and roughly, I guess it's about 4,500 or 5,000 feet of elevation change is brutal, because you've already got 3/4 of the hike behind you at that point. But the last bit is 6.5 miles of climbing. Now, the way that you do that, aside from your training, you reach a point where your mind says, it's just too much. I just cannot go on. But the reality is you've trained for this and your body can do it. The way I did it, and I remember this very clearly, step by step, 1 foot in front of the other, 1 foot in front of the other, step by step. And that's how I got to the top of the canyon. And that's how I got through the most difficult time of my life, losing my family, losing all the relationships that mattered to me. 1 day at a time, step by step. And when I got to the top, I turned around and I looked back, and it was just way too much to comprehend. There was no way that I could take into myself the majesty, the extraordinary, heartbreaking beauty of everything I had seen and everything I had done over the previous 12 hours. And in the same way, once I got through that black tunnel of the divorce, of losing my family, and of slowly getting them all back, there's no way to comprehend it. How did I do it? Step by step, 1 foot in front of the other. If you're in hard times right now, you will get through it. Step by step, 1 foot in front of the other. You'll make it. If you need somebody to talk with or somebody just to listen, leave me a note. I'm here. We'll talk to you tomorrow.